Hi guys, this is Afolabi from Honor Worldwide. I'm happy to be presenting this to you. I've been sourcing for over 20 years now, sourcing from different countries, and I've seen so many things go wrong. I've seen good things and I've seen bad things during my career in importing products. So today we're going to talk about booby traps to avoid when importing from anywhere, any country. Even if you're importing from the US, you're importing from India, you're importing products from China. These are just things to avoid when you're importing your products. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about some things, but these are just precautions. If you take precautions, you are going to be able to avoid all these problems, all these booby traps. Okay, so I don't want you to ignore anything here. If you can just take all these precautions, you will be okay. All right. I have about 15 for you down my list. These are things that I've gone through, I've witnessed by myself, or I hear people talk about some of the problems or issues they fell into. But I think most of these issues are avoidable, like I said. So let's dive into it. Okay. All right. The first one is your products arrive defective. Maybe at your 3PL or when you ship to Amazon or wherever you're selling your products at, they come and they are defective. Some may even have mold on them, right? The solution to that is to always do an inspection. I like to include moisture content in my inspection, especially if you're selling wood products. Wood tend to not dry up. Some of the factories, they just they don't allow the wood to dry up properly before they ship it or before they turn it into products. So you have to be aware of all these things and make sure when you send your inspection company to go and inspect the product, you make sure that they include moisture inspection. You have to do the moisture content as part of your inspection so that if the moisture content is so high, definitely that you're going to have a problem with that product. What kind of problems can you have? Well, the product will be puffed up. It would warp really fast. It's going to blow up. And warping is the main thing that we see when we're talking about when the wood is not dry enough. Number two is US Customs seize your cargo for many reasons. Maybe for improper documentation. Maybe you're using the wrong tariff code in your cargo, making you pay less duty when you're declaring customs. These are some of the things. Maybe your supplier used a fake part when they're bringing your product in, or you're actually infringing on somebody's patent or copyright. This is a serious problem that you have to watch out for. When you're importing, you have to make sure that your supplier conforms to patent laws, intellectual property laws. Okay. Another thing is that maybe your customs may seize your goods because of contraband, or because your goods were mixed with contraband goods that are not allowed into your country of import or country of destination. Make sure your freight forwarders declare the right duty. Make sure you check on all the ingredients or the materials used on your product to ensure that they conform to US Customs law. All right, let's move to number 3. The factory goes out of business or declares bankruptcy before you even see the product. This happened a lot during the COVID time because many companies, many factories, especially in China, many factories didn't have enough funding, or they didn't even have enough employees to carry out the production. So they collected people's money and they did not fulfill the orders. They took the money and run. The solution to that is to ensure that you buy your products with Alibaba Trade Assurance. I like Alibaba Trade Assurance because if something goes wrong, they are going to refund you your money 100%. But make sure that you have to file the complaint within 30 days of the goods arriving at your destination. Or it's always also very good to catch the problem even before it leaves China. It's a very common practice. That's why I love doing inspection. You'll be able to catch the problems before they actually leave the factory. Then you file a claim with Alibaba and they're going to take care of it for you. Number 4, the factory's email was hacked and somebody impersonated the factory worker or the factory owner and they diverted the funds to their own account. This has happened to me before. It's not pretty. It's a really, really serious problem. And this is how the fraud works. So while you're talking and negotiating with the factory, some hacker just intercepts your message with the factory when it gets to the point where you're about to place an order. So they'll be watching all your conversations with the factory until it's time for you to place an order. Then they jump in and intercept your conversation, and then they impersonate, they act as if they're the factory. They will send you their bank account. They will swap the invoice, they'll swap the purchase order information, and they're going to send you, their bank information so that you can send money to their bank. And once you send the money, that's it. The factory doesn't know that you sent the money. So the factory will be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so be careful with that. The way I solve that problem is anytime I'm talking to my factory, I make sure that I also have a private conversation with them on WeChat or any other messenger. Maybe it's WeChat, maybe it's WhatsApp. I always have a personal conversation with the factory rep so that if he sends me a PO, I'll go in and confirm that it's the same factory. I'll confirm the bank account. I'll confirm everything before I send any payment. Number 5 is there are currency fluctuations. By the time you place your order till the time the order is finished, the rate of dollar or the rate of dollar to Chinese currency kind of moved. So in that situation, you have to the way to protect yourself is to ensure that you have a sales agreement that is longer than the time of production. So let's say the production time will be 40 days. Make sure you have a sales agreement that is like 60 days or 90 days long, so that in case the currency moves, your rate is already locked in, your price is already locked in, and any movement in currency will not affect your order. Number 6 is cargo. Your cargo may be delayed due to congestion, due to hijacking of cargo on the sea. Right. So like now, at the time of this recording, there is a problem in the Red Sea where there are hijackers. So this might cause a lot of delays in your when you're importing your product. So make sure you get insurance with your freight. Make sure when you're buying freight, just ask for insurance and extra protection in your freight. Number 7 is inspection did not catch major defects in your product. I know there are at least 2 types of inspection that you can do. There's the cheaper one and there's a more in-depth one, which is more expensive. So people normally opt in for spot inspection. Spot inspection is good if you have products that are not problematic, right? But if you have products that have issues all the time, I would always advise you to do full inspection. This way your inspector can catch every single problem, right? When your inspection catches every single problem, then you know that you're not liable. You don't have to pick up those goods. You have to make sure the factory fixes the problem before you pick up the goods, okay? Number 8, products hurts or kills consumers. So especially in lead poisoning, there are so many chemicals that are not allowed into the US. So it's your responsibility to find out what kind of chemicals your factory is using in making.
Anh chị đang bán hàng trên Amazon. Skyrock cung cấp các dịch vụ dành cho các nhà bán hàng trên Amazon với mức giá cực kỳ ưu đãi như đăng ký brand với USPTO, từ Thailand Hand, từ cho Your Scout, logistics và warehouse. Xem hình thông tin chi tiết dưới phần mô tả nhé.
Your product, and if it's part of the chemicals that people don't or the US doesn't want, then you know that you cannot import that product. Find another product or find another factory that doesn't use that chemical. Number 10, your product is listed under anti-dumping laws. Your product is listed under anti-dumping laws. So let's go over anti-dumping. Anti-dumping laws just mean that the US doesn't want products that are made in the US to be imported. They want to protect the US manufacturers of the same product. So they impose anti-dumping laws to protect to prevent you from bringing these products into the US. So check that your product is not part of this list so that the customs will not flag your container or flag your cargo when it's coming into the US, and then that's going to be a serious problem. So check all the anti-dumping lists. Ask your customs broker to check if your product doesn't fall into that before you even place order, before you even select this product to place order. Another booby trap is you forgot to put choking hazard warning on your packaging. So if you have a packaging that is big or that is plastic, you must put choking hazard label or sticker on this packaging. Amazon started checking for this about 6-7 years ago when there was like a serious problem. So when you get a product that has a plastic bag, you will notice that it's printed on the product, the choking hazard for baby or little kids, suffocation warning is printed on this product. So the same way, anytime your product comes in that kind of bag, ensure that you print this choking hazard or suffocation warning on your packaging before it leaves the production line. Okay, if not, the U.S. Customs can stop your product and they can impound it. The next one is your country of origin was not put on your packaging. So if your product is made in China, then make sure that your made in China is clearly printed on your packaging and your master carton. There is nothing wrong with made in China products. If your product is made in Thailand, if it's made in Indonesia, wherever your product is made, ensure that the country of origin is printed on both your packaging and your master cartons. The next one is a big one. You are not aware that you're supposed to have some certification for the product you're about to sell or the product you're about to import into the country. For example, if you're bringing children's product, you probably have to get a CPC license, CPC certification. Or if you're bringing food or products that are regulated by FDA, you have to get FDA clearance for this product. So your freight forwarder is supposed to do a due diligence to help you know what certifications you need before you can be allowed to bring this product in. This is a serious problem. If you do not prepare for these, your products could be flagged. Your product will be denied entry into the US and you will lose all your investment. The next one is your product is infringing on somebody's IP. So we see Amazon is now very strict and Amazon is taking good measure to shut down IP infringement. So before you do any product, go to the US database. Before you make any product, make sure you go to USPTO.gov or hire a patent attorney and let them do an in-depth research of this product to make sure that you're not infringing on anybody's patent. Because if you are, if the person files a claim against you, they will stop your product from every marketplace you're selling it at. They're going to put a stop. You're going to get a letter from their lawyer, and it's not going to be pretty. Okay, so before you launch any product, make sure you have done your due diligence. Make sure you have done the thorough research. If the product has a patent, if it's covered by trademark, if it's covered by, copyright, you have to ensure that you're clear and you can import it. Even if the supplier lies to you and say, oh, don't worry, you can do it. No, don't do it. Because if you infringe on my product's patent, I will make sure that I file claim with Amazon or wherever you're selling, and I'm going to win. The last one that many sellers avoid is the issue of mold ownership. So when you're making an innovative product or products that include or involves you making mold, make sure you have a mold ownership agreement in place. What is a mold ownership agreement? It just means that it's an agreement between you and your supplier that the mold belongs to you and you can take your mold anytime. The mold belongs to you and you can take your mold anytime you want. If you don't have this agreement and you have a problem with your supplier and you need to change suppliers, they will not release your mold. They will not release your mold and you're going to lose that mold. And imagine you spend 10,000 or 40,000 on a mold and your supplier refuses to release it. I've seen many issues where suppliers confiscate molds or suppliers steal molds because they want to go make the same product for other people, right? Another common trap to avoid is do not let your supplier pay for your mold, or don't let him contribute to the payment of your mold. If your supplier tells you, hey, let's share the mold cost, that's problem. That is problem. That means you jointly own that mold with that supplier, and it's going to, it's going to cost a lot of problems in the future. Even though you're having a very good relationship with this supplier, it will not always be like that. Sometimes you have good relationships, sometimes good relationships go bad. So in that case, you have to protect yourself. You have to make sure that you own the mold outright. You own the mold outright, so that when you want to switch your supplier, it will be no problem switching. Okay. Another problem I see with mold is many people let their supplier contribute to their designs. So if you have a unique design, if you have an innovative product, the moment your supplier contributes to developing that product, contributes his own idea to developing that product, it qualifies to be a co-owner of that idea. It's a joint inventor in that case. So if your supplier says, oh, why don't you do it this way? Let's do it that way. You know, the supplier sometimes may have patented the product even behind you. You might have filed a patent in China behind you. And it's happened to people that I know, that they were developing this product, and the moment this idea was finished, they realized that the supplier already the supplier already filed for the patent in China for this product. What happens? That means they're stuck. The supplier owns this idea without you realizing. So be careful with all these things. All right. So with all these booby traps that we've gone through, I hope you're better equipped, and you have to be, I hope you're better equipped. Do your due diligence. Make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's, because importing can be fun, and there's another side of importing that is not so fun, but we want you to have a really good time importing products. If you follow all this roadmap and playbook, you will not have any problem. You would avert so many issues. You will prevent so many dangers. You will prevent so many issues from happening. Don't be too emotionally connected with your product or with your supplier that you let down your guard. Do not let down your guard. Make sure you watch over every single process of your importation, and you're going to have a great experience in business. You're going to have happy suppliers. You're going to have a great experience. You're going to have a good time importing your products anywhere you choose to import it. Okay.
Anh chị đang bán hàng trên Amazon. Skyrock cung cấp các dịch vụ dành cho các nhà bán hàng trên Amazon với mức giá cực kỳ ưu đãi như đăng ký brand với USPTO, từ LIệN, từ cho dầu cao, logistics và warehouse. Xem hình thông tin chi tiết dưới phần mô tả nhé.